Alright, so here we go. All right. Take a closer look at this. These are rubbery tires. There appear to be ball bearings inside the front wheel on these. I'm lifting it. There's a nice peg here on the front to hold it up by, and it's got articulated front steering. Or the front axle articulates up and down, and then the steering works here. And since I haven't put fuel in it yet, let's tip it entirely on end and look at the bottom. So I haven't filled it up yet. So we've got the final drive here. The steering is ball ends on here. Very nice. It's just a worm gear on the end of the steering wheel. Pretty standard, classic operation. So let's see now. The clutch linkage here, and the gear shifter here that just switches. There we go. Now the clutch is in, and I don't know, I'll have to look at that more carefully, but that's the underside. And we've got the back side here has a proper differential in it, because when you turn the wheels, one wheel, it turns the opposite direction. And the battery box up under here is an odd fit, and it feels like this is a small one. It only takes 2 AA's, and it feels like it should, like it's loose in there, so it feels like you should be able to pull it out without removing this drawbar, but I have a feeling I'm gonna just take a moment. See, this is just loose in here, so it feels like it should pop out, but really it is loose because it's supposed to get tight up against here. Then you can access the on-off switch that's in this. Now, I don't know if the other ones have this on-off switch in the battery box, but that's pretty slick to have the on-off switch there. And alright, this lever is the throttle lever, and this throttle lever doesn't move as far as I want it to, so, and it looks like, here, yeah, so the throttle lever, that's as far forward as it pushes, and it could, there's a lot more travel forward and with that linkage back here, so, but then to pull it back, it only goes this far back, and there's a lot more travel back here, so I'm feeling there's a spot here with a set screw that I can just adjust that, which I will probably do before we get in there. This air cleaner cap is just on there. And that is just a cover for this carburetor, and you can see that it's not using the full travel on the throttle body, so I will have to make that adjustment before we try to run it. But oh yeah, it's got the float in there to make sure that you remember to keep it full of water. That cute little ring there, that's a nice little touch. And this fuel tank looks to be much bigger than the other fuel tanks in my other models, so I'll have to measure how much fuel goes in it when I fill it. This side has got, this muffler is 2 cast pieces, and there's a solder joint on the bottom. And yep, there is compression in there, so that's good. The gear change lever here, oh, that's a cute touch. This turns and it's screwed in there, so this is actually a turning piece that spins instead of just being a solid. That is a surprise and a very delightful discovery. I know that they're supposed to be, I don't know if it's just got forward and reverse, I don't remember that part, or if it's got 2 speeds forward, but there are no stops, just free on the gear shift here. And this is the handbrake, and it pulls on a brass band here. And it does work, because maybe, yeah, I don't know. Okay. I'll have to figure that out, because, oh, there we are. There's some freewheeling. And that band brake does put some friction on the system, although it's just like every tractor band brake, well, every band brake, you can actually see it. It's just a big loop of brass that wraps around the final drive here. That's the differential body there. So yeah. Well, let's see. What else is there to see about this? Not really anything from here until I get a good look at it. I see that the ignition wires, because there's also a switch here in addition to this on-off switch on the battery box. The ignition switch here, the wires back here, I'm going to have to look more closely to see if any of those are pinching. But it's got 2 drive bands down there, and a cover on the rocker arms. So and I don't see, I think you, from the other videos I've seen, and I'll have to check the instructions, there's supposed to be an oil fill on this engine, and I don't see it. So, oh, I see the vent. Well, it's impossible to see, but wedged in here behind the flywheel and under the controls there is an open vent to the crankcase. That is probably the place I'm going to have to fill the oil through, because I have looked very carefully at all of the rest of this engine and not seen a filler cap, because they use these, typically have a filler cap just like this on the other engines. So let's take a look at that. But overall, this is incredibly impressive, and I cannot wait to get a chance to play with it. But unfortunately, I live where there's going to be a pretty bad storm in the next couple days, so I don't know that I will have an opportunity to get outside. Oh, and I see another issue. See this ignition wire? It's pinched between this front frame member and the ignition box. So I might take a look and have to do some disassembly on this to reroute some wires and get that from being pinched and stuff. So maybe that'll be the thing that happens next. But right now we're just admiring how really cool this is and how it's so big. Like the water reservoir and piston here, main body are all cast. This fuel tank is two pieces cast and looks like soldered together at the seam there, or connected at the seam somehow. It's really something else. So, yeah. Alright, well, like I said, I don't know what we'll be doing with it next, but it arrived in the mail, and now I'll have to take a closer look and make a decision about whether I want to try and fix this pinched wire and double check it for pinched wires before I try to run it, or just try and run it.